Hello friends, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. And today I'm an On1 Photo Raw. And if you've been here before, you know I'm a fan of this product. It's really capable, really powerful, lots of just all around great stuff you can do with it. I'll be editing a landscape today. And one of the things that I really like about On1 are all the masking tools, because you may know from previous videos that I'm a big fan of masking because it allows you to control and target edits to specific parts of a photo. And the masking tools in On1 have been really good for a really long time, and they just get better and better. And with their Mask AI, it just allows you to really quickly do it with a high degree of accuracy. It just makes life easier, which is great. So I'm going to be editing this landscape today and use some masks to really just kind of target certain areas, just to kind of walk through a workflow demo, for lack of a better term. So that's what the photo looked like before. I've got preview off. You can see the adjustments I've made over here on the right-hand side here in the tone and color section of Develop. Basic stuff, right? Contrast, highlights, shadows. I generally use the mid-tone slider just about every time. I'm really happy that it's there. I like that because there's always a lot of mid-tones in a photo, so it always seems to have a pretty nice impact. A little bit of temperature and color work, that sort of thing. So if you look at the before and the after, that's where my photo is. And after doing the tone and color, I tend to go to either effects or local adjustments. Kind of depends on the image. In this case, I'm going to effects, and what I want to do is just apply some effects to certain parts of the photo, right? In other words, I want to do some masking with these tools. So I'm going to click on Add Filter and Dynamic Contrast. Now, by default, of course, everything applies across the entire photo. So I love the look of this dynamic contrast in the mountains there. This is from Arizona, in the field and like the path, but I don't really care for it in the sky. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see there's Mask AI. And in the drop down, I'm just going to go in here and choose a number of different things. Architecture highlights a little bit of that mountain. Flora is going to grab some of those trees. Natural ground grabs a whole lot of that foreground. And mountain grabs the rest. And so you can see I've essentially got everything covered nicely. I want to click Paint In because I want it to apply inside that mask. So I'm going to click Apply, and it'll go through and build that mask for me. And there it is. I mean, if you look at the view, there's my mask. Now, it's a little rough around the edges. You can use levels and other tools to kind of fine-tune that. This video is not really about that, but I might actually come into levels a little bit and tighten that up, maybe just a tad. You can have a really nice impact on things just using this levels sliders here, which I like quite a bit. So maybe something about like that. That's pretty crisp around the edges. I think that looks nice. And, dynamic contrast is now in the entire foreground and not in the sky. So if I turn that off before and after, just adds a nice little bit of pop, a little bit of crunch to that foreground. And now that I've done that, I think I'm going to go ahead and copy this mask, because that's a useful way to just kind of recycle them again and again. So copy the mask, add filter, and the next one I'm going to get is color enhancer. And in this case, what I want to do is play with some of the colors in the foreground. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click paste, and I've now got the mask in place on a new tool. I can click here to close that, and I just want to get into some of these color tools. So I'm going to start down here in this color range. I'm going to go into the orange, and I'm going to take the hue slightly left, like a -5, which makes it a little bit more red. So a little bit more intensity in that color. I'm going to go into yellow, and that hue, I'm actually going to drag it slightly, about an 18 or 19 over here to the right, which creates a little bit more green in those kind of yellow areas. Speaking of green, I'm also going to go into the green, and I'm going to drag that hue a little bit to the right as well, about a 14 or 15. And all I'm really doing is just making the green stand out a little bit more. The green is getting greener, the yellow is getting closer to green. So if I turn this off, you look at the before, it's a lot more kind of, I guess the term is washed out. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it, but it's a lot more faded, a lot more faint in terms of the green, and there's a fair amount of yellow. So what I did is I shifted the hue of the yellow toward the green, and I also did the same with the green. I shifted the green hue more green, right? So they're both getting a little bit more intense, a little bit more green. And so that's before and that's after. And one of the things I like about that is it creates a little bit more contrast. And another way to do that is to come in here and use this brightness slider. So if I pull down the brightness of that green, it's just going to create a little bit more contrast. I'm going to try the same with the yellow. There's probably more yellow. Yeah, I'm having a little bit quicker, more intense impact on the yellow, but using the brightness slider along with that hue shift is really allowing me to really kind of make those colors stand out a little bit more. So before And after, I think that looks a little bit better because I'm playing off kind of the warm, which is kind of the more orange, and the green, which is a little bit closer to like a cooler color, just trying to play off those colors a little bit. Now I'm going to actually add another filter, and I'm going to get color enhancer again. And I'm going to go ahead, and this time I'm going to be using the sky. So I'm going to click on the masking icon, click on paste, and now click on invert. So if I click view, you can see that the mask, remember, white reveals, black conceals. So whatever I do will be revealed in the sky. So I'm going to click view again to hide that, and click the masking icon to hide the masking window. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking the temperature down. I want to get a little bit more blue in that sky. I do like blue skies. I just think they look nice. I'm going to play off some of the color here as well. I'm going to add a slight tint bump of about a 3 and a little bit of vibrance, maybe a 5 or something like that. And then I'm going to go down here into blue, and in the hue, I'm going to do a similar thing where I'm shifting that hue and making a little bit more intensity there. So about a 16 or 17. I'm going to bump up the saturation about a 10. And I'm going to drop the brightness about a -20 or so. So there it is before. That's what the sky looked like before I did any of these changes, and that's what it looks like now, just creating a little bit more drama and intensity in that sky, which I think looks pretty nice. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and copy this mask, and I'm going to go and get into dynamic contrast again, and I'm going to paste. And I use dynamic contrast to add a little intensity to that foreground, a little bit of crunch. And I also use the opposite of that to remove a little bit of that and make it smoother. So that's why I copied that sky mask and pasted it here. And I'm going to come over here and do like a -40 or something like that. Just kind of smooth it out. And I don't know how well you can see that in the video, but well, you can probably see that. There it is before, and there it is now. Just a little bit smoother, just a personal preference. But the point is not necessarily like, oh, do this move on your skies, because it is a personal preference that I like smoother skies. But it's really just about using those masks, recycling, copying, pasting, inverting, just getting kind of fluent, for lack of a better word, in how they work, because it's a massive time saver. And again, as I said, masking is about control, so it's going to give you the ability to really target those edits where you want them to go. Speaking of targeting, the other thing I want to do is add another filter, and I'm going to use a different kind of mask here. I'm going to go ahead and get sunshine, and I like this tool a lot. It really gives a nice pop. I mean, look at that. It's just pretty intense, which I like. The challenge with it is sometimes I don't always like it to be that much. So I can remove or adjust the opacity. I can adjust the amount, but I can also just create a different kind of mask, and that's a luminosity mask. And so that's a mask based on light values. So if I click on view, remember, white reveals, black conceals, and where it's gray, and there's a lot of gray here, it's kind of an in-between, right? It's just different levels. And so speaking of levels, I may come in here and just drag that like that, where I create a little bit more black in the darker areas. In other words, less of the mask is getting applied there, therefore less of the effect of this sunshine filter is going to show up there. And then I might just play, maybe go this way with the kind of the mid-tones, if you will. And maybe play a little bit with that as well. I'm just kind of experimenting here. I think something about like that looks pretty good. Maybe try a little. Yeah, actually something about like that. If I click view again, I'll hide that. And you can see it has a nice impact on the photo, but because it's a luminosity mask, it's a little bit more subtle, which I like. So if I turn that off, there it is before the luminosity mask on the sunshine filter, and there it is after. It's going into the brighter parts a little bit more because it's a luminosity mask, which is a mask based on light values. So the brighter parts get more, the darker parts get less, and it varies based on these shades of gray that you see here. Also, if you do that and it's still a little bit too much, just pull back on the opacity. You can just reduce that a little bit if you'd like to. So maybe 100 is too much, and maybe 80 looks better. So just pull it down to 80. But the bottom line is you can have a nice subtle impact using luminosity mask, which I love to use. I think it's a fantastic thing to have at your disposal. So before sunshine and after, just a nice little pop to the image. In fact, I'm going to go back to 100 because I like it. I just wanted to point out the opacity is an option as well. And now that I'm done with that, I'm going to do one last thing in the sky. So I'm going to use a local adjustment for that. So I'm going to click on local, and it's going to open up. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click paste, because remember, a couple of filters ago, I'd copied the mask for the sky. So I still had that on the clipboard because I hadn't copied anything else. So you can see it's taken that mask, even though I was on effects and I copy the mask, when I'm in local, I can still paste it. Now it's showing up dark, and that's because it's defaulting to this -1 value. I'm going to make that a 0 because I'm not interested in darkening the sky. So that's now a 0. But what I am interested in is changing the temperature and the saturation a little bit. So I'm going to darken it, or excuse me, make it a little bit more blue, like a -20 or so. -22, I think that looks good. But it's a little too saturated. So I'm going to pull that down just a tiny bit. I don't want to have like a totally fake looking blue sky, but I do like the intensity of the blue. We actually ended up having a huge storm about an hour or so later. So it was a little bit of a like stormy sky kind of coming in sort of thing. I'm trying to play that up a little bit. And that little bit more intensity of the blue, I think helps. So maybe I'll pull back slightly on the temperature. But if you look at the before and then the after, just add a little bit of intensity blue to the sky. And that's my full edit here, my friends. If you look at the before, you can see a lot more flat image. It's a raw file and they're always flat. So that's not really a big surprise, I'm sure. But that's the before, and that's my final product. And I've been able to use Luminosity mask as well as copying and pasting different masks that were created with the AI tools to really target different areas. And in this case, it's fairly straightforward, which is kind of like foreground or sky. And that's a nice thing about landscapes. It's often that you're just targeting a couple things like that, even though you get a lot of other masking tools in On1 that you can use. That's what I wanted to do here, but it allowed me pretty quickly to go from a fairly flat color image without a lot of contrast, a lot of kind of flat light and all that. And now I've got something that I think really pops and stands out. I like it quite a bit. And that's how I'm using masks in On1 to just really kind of target my edits, be specific, make sure that I'm doing what I want to do in certain parts of the photo when and at the same time not doing them in other parts of the photo. That's how this one went, my friends. So thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with more videos. If there's anything in particular you want me to cover in On1, let me know. Leave a comment down below. I'll see you in the next video, my friends. Thanks for watching. Take care, and until next time, adios.